So I had been working for the Coca-Cola company in Atlanta, first in the Netherlands, and then I was transferred to Atlanta. And that was a fantastic experience because, the Coca-Cola company is such a great brand, they know so much about brand marketing, and it was a fantastic learning experience. I was working in new brand innovation, so I was charged with, traveling all over the world and coming up with ideas for new brands. And that was a great experience, but when you get to a certain level, even in creative jobs, you stop doing creative work because basically you have a team that does that for you, or you hire agency to do that. And I really missed doing the creative work, just rolling up my sleeves and, getting out paints and making things. I had always been a lover of children's books. I have a whole collection of children's books, and I had always been fascinated about some of the children's books that I'd come across. They combine beautiful illustration with, really strong writing and really great design, and I always felt that children's picture books were such a creative thing. I'm a storyteller. I do many things, and I kind of live in between worlds. I live in between that world of books where I tell stories, but I also know about brands, and I also know how I can take what I've learned about storytelling over here to building a brand, or even to brand leadership or business leadership. I think the business environment in San Francisco or in the Bay Area is very different from anywhere else on earth. And I think it's partly because of that history, right? Because of, people came here for the gold rush, they came here to try their fortunes. But at the same time, it's also a really open-minded city. Like in the 1950s, there were the Beat Poets with Allen Ginsberg, and they kind of brought counterculture to the city. And they started talking about sexuality and about drugs and about free speech. And I think that combination between people coming here from all over the world with their ideas, with their thing that they want to make big, in addition to the really kind of open, tolerant, welcoming attitude, I think to me is kind of makes for a very magical mix. This is a great entrepreneurial climate, right? In the Bay Area, there's so many different startups over here, which for me is really interesting because I actually, even though I've worked on established brands, and that's kind of how I learned what I do, I prefer working with companies that are just getting started, because to me, that's where the excitement is, right? When there's nothing yet, when you literally have to go in and you have to think about, okay, what is this brand all about? Where did it start? What is its story? And how can we bring that story to life? It didn't happen overnight. I sent out so many different portfolios and story ideas and letters. And I actually have a huge binder here full of these are all the rejection letters that I got. Literally hundreds of them. And but I believed in my idea. I believed in what I wanted to do. I believed that I had stories to tell. I believed that I had something to contribute. I stuck with it. So my advice is for entrepreneurs is if you have a good idea, if you believe in your idea, if you believe you have something to contribute, stick with it. And even if you're faced with rejection, even if you're faced with rejection over and over and over again, if your idea is good, eventually somebody will see it and it'll pay off. But you have to stick to your guns. Getting to know people. I feel when you're just cold calling or just, sending out emails, that doesn't do all that much. But fortunately, I've been here for a while, so my network is pretty good. And I've met a lot of people along the way that know people. So I think networking is pretty critical when you're trying to, build relationships here. Even when you're new, I think people have better networks than they think. To start with, there's a really great Dutch community here. Yeah, there's a great Facebook group called SF Dutch, where a lot of people kind of exchange ideas and network and get to know other people, Dutch people. The consulate is actually really active in kind of forging relationships. They're really active, putting on cultural events, but also being part of the entrepreneurial community here. And they've put on some great events where I've met people over time. So I think just using what you've got, starting with the people that you already know or that are close to you or that are from the same country, I think that's a great place to start.